Yeah, hi, I'm Mazen. I'm a mastering engineer at Metropolis, and today we're going to master a track. Um, yeah, well, mastering is the last step before the factory, and traditionally, I mean, it was just to transfer the mix onto the different formats, such as vinyl. But mastering, as a CD came about in the early 80s, mastering started to take more of a creative role. So the easiest way to explain it, in the studio, I suppose you're thinking about all the instruments and how to balance them. In here, we're balancing frequencies. So, and we also make sure it's going to sound good on CD, vinyl, digital. We also output to all the different formats these days, because these days an album will come out on CD, vinyl, digital, might be a Blu-ray or a DVD bonus edition. So we do all that in here. So any last minute changes, this is the last stop before it goes to manufacturing. We've even gone to the extent where we've recorded a trumpet in the mastering stage, or a keyboard line, or backing vocals, but that's quite rare. I don't really recommend that. I suppose the loudness thing is not so much an issue these days. I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, the most important thing is the track sounds good. I mean, you don't want to have a ballad that is extremely limited and compressed, because it just takes away from the vibe of the track. So it's all about actually the track itself. So whatever benefits it. There's no need to make things as loud as possible. It's not going to sound louder on radio. In fact, it'll start sounding quieter on radio. I think that's a misconception. A lot of people call me up and go, "Oh, can you do a separate loudness for the radio track, because we need it as loud as possible on radio?" Well, that's not going to happen if it's too loud. Yeah, obviously, if you're going to use, probably in the mix stage, probably don't compare your mix to a mastered CD, because then, that is mastered. So maybe a good idea was to send your first mix to the mastering engineer, see if they can do a quick mastering of it so you can hear what the mix is going to sound like mastered, and then you can do your fine tweaks to it, and then use that mix as a reference for your other mixes on the album. So it's very common for people to send the first mix to me to do a quick mastering on it. So today we're mastering a track called Vanishing Point by Lucas. So just before we have a listen to the mix on its own with no processing, it's just worth remembering that when you listen to a song in mastering, it is quite different when you listen to it in a mixing session. So here we're kind of listening to all the frequencies, the arrangement of the song, and then we're going to decide what it needs. So let's have a listen. Treat me like, treat me like dirt. 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 So I've got a spectrum analyzer, which I can see what's going on, and an oscilloscope, which just helps me. I can hear it, but kind of helps me to see what's going on in the song. Say Yeah, so everything seems to be pretty balanced here, but maybe the song just needs a bit more life and excitement, and bring up the vocals a little bit. So after I've heard it, I'm gonna start working on it. Also, what I like to do is have a gain structure through all my equipment. So this is how I start to turn the track up. So I make sure there's a healthy level into all my EQs, compressors, limiters, etc. I don't think this track's going to need a lot of compression actually. Everything seems to be pretty well balanced. So I'm increasing my gain structure within my console. I use my VUs here. I've got an 8 dB pad, so these VUs really help me to see how loud I'm going. Every track's different as far as level goes, just depends on the density of the track. So you can kind of push it till it starts to feel stressed, and then the best thing is just to come back. So there's no one level for everything. So I've got two limiters chained up. Each limiter is doing a little bit. So like that, I'm not actually turning everything up in one place. So everything's, this way the track stays open. So I'm going to start adding a bit of high end, a bit of top end, maybe some 12K, which you can hear, so that sort of thing. I think maybe some high mids. I'm using a Summit EQ, so it's got a 2.7K, which I'll add. Just to hear what it's adding. It's more that. So I'll add 2 dB there. So at the moment we've just added some high-end 12K, some 27K just for air, and we've added 2.7. So I also like to check the mono signal and the difference signal, so or if you call it MS. So what we can hear in there, this is everything that's panned in the mix. Especially for this track, because it's a dance track and it's going to be played in clubs. So most of the time I would always advise people to have the bass in the mono only, not in the difference, because if you have it in the difference and you play it in a nightclub, there's 8 speakers in there playing stereo, the bass is just going to swim around and cover up your track. So what I do is I either cut it out if there's too much bass, which I think there is too much here, or I blend that stereo bass into the mono signal, and like that the bass will be tight. So yeah, let's clean up the difference channel now. So I'm going to apply an EQ just to the difference. So I've got an MS EQ. So I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm going to use a low cut on the difference. So I would probably put about 60 Hertz and below in the difference, cut it out. And you'll notice now the bass will be pretty tighter. I might try this multiband compressor just from 100 Hertz and below to see if I can get this bass a bit tighter. So that's without it. That's with it. So now you get the front of the kick drum. What I'm doing here is just everything under 100 hertz, 2-to-1 compression, very slow attack and a very fast release. Also, I've got a stereo width control. I think the track could do with spreading. So I'll just show you what that does in an extreme way so you can hear it. That's extreme, but I think about 40% stereo width. I'll just push it in and out so you can hear it. That's out. In. I want to take some low mids out, so around 40 hertz, 400, sorry. So I'll just show you the frequency. What I'm going to do is I'm going to find that pokey frequency that I can hear. Yeah, so it was 400 hertz. So I'm taking half a dB out. But I'm gonna add maybe some 820 to warm it up, and for the upper bass notes, which is this frequency that I've exaggerated. You leave your home for days and days, and I know you got another woman somewhere around. You leave your home for days and days. Maybe it just needs, maybe for those claps and so on, and maybe a bit of around the 4K to 5K region, just to give it a bit more of a crack. Okay, so we've done our EQing. We've done the low compression, just for the, under 100 hertz. Let's just see where we were and where we are, just to make sure that we're going in the right direction. That's pretty good, I think. So I think this sounds good. Frequencies are pretty balanced. We've sorted out our stereo bass out, tightened it up in the mono, so it's going to sound good on clubs. It's going to sound good on radio. So I balance the frequencies in a way that the radio compressors will not process it as least as possible, and adjust that level. So actually, the louder you go, the quieter it gets on radio. So there is sort of some sort of line that, you know, I try not to cross. So I'll just check my level and then we'll be ready to record it in. I want to check one thing in the low mids. Okay, found it. So that was around 510 hertz. So I'm going to pull that back by 0.7. Okay, so I think the track sounds great. We've got our level. We're going to record it in the computer. I'll just play one last time how it was and what we've got. So that's the unmastered, and then the mastered one.